Actually, I have not really done an editing feature of a photo which is just easy to handle in Photoshop. I have sort of like chosen photos which were a little bit difficult and you had to do a lot and so on. So for a change, we'll just focus on very basic Photoshop. This lovely family, mom and dad, 3 kids, and it's sort of like the family Addams meets Godfather, and all is good. I like it. It's it also goes to show that a good photo doesn't necessarily have to have smiles all over. It's just whether or not the people looking at this photo, the people in the photo looking at this photo, and they will go, yeah, that's us. And that's such an important statement when a family look at a photo of a family, them, and say, yeah, this is us. That's who we are. You can see them as individuals, but it's like who we are. Great. So that's a good thing. But let's just kick off and see what we can do. Over here I have layers. Layers in Photoshop is something like you see the original picture through. You sort of like go in and you look through all these pancakes of handlings of different problems. So first we'll make a copy. I right click on this background here and I say duplicate layer. It says background copy. We can also call it something else. And we now have a layer where we can handle things in. I always do that because I want to retain at all times the original photo at the bottom, so we can always check if I've done some editing which is not really good. Okay, so that's very important. And if the photo go on storage and somebody calls me and say, look, my nose looks all wrong, I can very quickly check and see, no, your nose, well, just looks a bit wrong. I didn't do it. In Photoshop, it just is. And sometimes I have done something wrong. Okay, so let's do some other stuff here, except, I mean, we're not going to do anything on this layer here. It's just something I do as a routine as the first thing. I'm going to open another layer here, which is called curves. And I'm just going to use that to bring up some light in the faces. I will just look at the faces here and see where does it bring me. I can see here that it's more vulnerable to light in the left side than the right side. So there is a small disproportion of light. So I just go down until it sort of looks okay for both. And I press OK. And then I press this white square here and press Control I. It is for invert. I want it basically to be black, which it becomes now. It means that the whole layer is now inactive. But if I then press delete, this is a little bit opposite. Delete is something where you usually remove. So now I will remove blackness. It's sort of like double, but anyway, what it does is it makes the face lighter. And I will use sort of like a big brush, and I just go on the faces here, just on the faces. And I have to be a little bit careful with her because she's very light skinned. I don't think I should even give her any more. So I'm just going to go a little bit on the close just to see if there's some details which should be brought up. And I will now take another layer called levels. And here, I'll just bring it in here so you can see it. You see there is this, let's put it here. You see, there's sort of like, this is how the photo is exposed. And what you can see is there's actually nothing up here in the highlights. So I can just move it down a little bit like that. And watch it a bit on certain areas, because now we're getting problems. Here and in the face here, and in general it seems like now we're pushing it. It's because I've already activated curves. If I didn't activate curves, it would be less. But anyway, I do this thing that I again select the white square, the mask it's called, and I press Control I, and it sort of becomes dark, becomes black, and we see there is now details here again and so on. But now I have a brush where I'm just gonna shine a little light, and I want to see her black hair. I think it could stand a little bit of extra light. Not much difference, a little bit in the clothes here, even though she's wearing something dark, there can be some more details in here. Here could also be a little bit more detail. And down here, a little bit more detail. I'm just like places where I think, okay, she could be a little bit, could be some more light. Let's try it. That is the lower part of the picture. That was too much. So I press Control Z. Control Z means that I will now step backwards. You can see here, if I use step backwards, Control Z, it will just remove what I just did on the dad's face. So that's, but I kind of want to do it a little bit more here and there, maybe in that face. That looks good. But maybe that was a little bit too much, so I do the fade erasure. I want to sort of like what I just did, I want to only do half, so I do this, and I do it, I press OK. I do the same treatment for mom, also fade erasure, and then it goes to a better place here. So now I think, okay, the skin tones are now pretty good. I just want to check if I haven't done something here in the hair. Now you see, this is another problem. It's too light, you might say. And so I open another curves, another layer of curves here, and then I actually pull it down a bit. I'm only looking at this area here. I press again, invert, and now I have a little brush which can go and correct the well, there's a little bit too much light, and I'll just very quickly just go like that. I just want a little bit more detail. So this is interesting in that it sort of like presses details back. And let's see, there's this area here, and I'll press over here. I change the thing to white because I want to sort of like, the effect was a little bit too much here. I put it back to black again. So if I'm now seeing anything which has gone completely white, I have the ability to push it back in again. But it looks like all good now. There's the hair up here. I could put in a little bit more, but you see I also touched the background here. So now I take the white as the top thing. I press erasure again. I press something wrong here. So you can see now that if I take this eye icon here, there's a little eye, and if I press it, you can see, oh, this is the details. It's a little bit too light. It's sort of like a little bit better here, but it's not much. It's sort of small things you do. And some of these things are also getting into taste. Okay, so now we have done the basic lighting techniques to improve the photo. So now I'm going to go a little bit down to the background copy here, and I'm going to touch upon some easy skin issues. The reason why I have waited until now to do that is I want to be able to see better. So that's why I optimized the photo first as to the lighting, so I have a clear view about what is going on. Alright, so I will now go close, and I'll go with this lovely lady first, and I will do it a little bit closer than you see. Actual pixels is like this, and I go a little bit closer, just a little bit, because then I have a pretty good idea about what I am doing. You see this, there's the navigator panel up here. I can sort of like, by just moving this thing around, I can sort of like go in my very close thing. Actually, I'm a little bit too close, so now I press Control minus. This is just a shortcut, but it's to allows me to go out again a little bit, and then I take my the enlargement glass, enlargement icon, you see that over here is activated. So now I'm just going in to see if there is anything here which should have our attention. And what is my purpose here? I'm looking for stuff which are not here in 2 weeks. And what I do is I want to shine that up a little bit. So I use this thing which is called a cloning tool, and I make the opacity around 50, 49, that's good enough. And I put the hardness to sort of very soft. Its hardness is 0%. And I put the diameter, I will change now and again for whatever I'm doing. So there's a bit of shine there. There's a little incorrectness in the skin there. So I clone from here. This is the target area here, and I use if I press 2 times, then it becomes 100%. I put 49% here, but if I only press, let's see here, this, I still want it to be a little bit of shine left, so now I've only done it 50%. So I can control whether it's 50% or 100% by 1 click 50, 2 clicks 100. Here's also a little bit of shine. I'll just take a little bit from up there and I'll put it there, and then we're all good. Now I'll press Control minus again to move out a little bit so I can see what I'm doing. See, this area here, I think there's a little bit too much shine there. Otherwise, I think actually, you see this spot here and that spot there and that spot here and this spot over here and that spot down here, those are part of her permanent features. I don't touch that. And sometimes people will ask for if I can remove something, but this is not a fault. So I don't, if it's not going to be gone anyway in 2 weeks time, I don't touch it. So here I'm just gonna move some skin around. This is a little bit difficult because I actually don't have anything anywhere to clone from to make this exact thing here. So I'm just gonna create a little bit of skin or texture out of combining this area up here and this area up here and this here. So I will just, and here I will probably need to check what I have done by I've done something here where I'm not 100% sure if this is right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to actual pixels, a little bit closer, and I'm going to unclick this editing layer. I want to see her real nose, and I can see that I have actually made it a little bit wrong. So now I will press down here and create a mask. As we have a mask on the 3 top layers, I also want a mask on this thing here, because I'm actually going to delete it a little bit, because we want the form of her nose to be there. But I'm just going to do it in one swoop. I'm just going to go delete it all. This is the original nose. But I want the shine to disappear a little bit, so I'm going to go fade on the erasure I just made. So I'm just going to put it back a little bit. And then you see that now the shine is less. The shine is still there, but it's less. We want it to just be the shine. This is the shine 100%, which I think is a little bit too much. So I'll put it down to here. Looks natural. It sort of looks like the shine which is on her lips, the shine which is here, the shine which is nose. So it looks more like everything else. So, but the structure of, if I now click back and forth, you will see that her nose, the form of the nose is consistent. Good stuff. So we'll move to the brother here. Again, you see there is certain things in the skin which are permanent. I don't touch those, but there's also some issues here. I make sure that I'm on this editing area, the layer, and then I start removing. There's some loose skin here. I move that. There is this is probably a wound. I will remove that. And there's a bit of rough skin here. Even though that's natural, I might soften it up a bit. Then there is something here. It's not necessarily, and there's something here. Small things, but they're not necessarily permanent. So I remove them. And this one is a pinball. So this is definitely going. When you move along the line of the lip, you choose very carefully to clone parallel with the lip, so you don't make it look odd. There's this roughness here, and you could even it out a little bit. Also because the lighting he gets on his we had this thing with the curves, bringing back a little bit of details. That was the layer, but I don't think I did it up here, so I'm gonna see if I can. I press delete and then the black thing again, because I want to bring it back a little bit up here. Okay, so I go back to my background copy, and now I'm gonna try to even out this a little bit, the roughness a little bit, also because the harsh light is coming in from the side, and it makes it a little bit. If he looks in the mirror in the morning, he will probably not see this roughness of the skin so much. So I'm just gonna make it a little bit like what he sees every day, but I still like this line, so I'm not gonna do much here. I'm just gonna go a little bit, and I might regret. And I'm gonna go back, Control Z. Also like it, so I'm gonna put it down to even less than 30%. We're gonna put it down to 31, and then I'm gonna try again to do it. Just a little bit. Okay. And I have to go out and have a look, so I'm going actual pixels, and see, I'm not sure that this was an improvement. I'm gonna look at the original. No, he had a nicer, he looks like more tough somehow, so I'm just gonna step it back. I'm just gonna go back a little bit here, and men are also more okay about leaving sort of like small areas in the skin where it's sort of like not 100% perfect. So I continue to clean up a little bit. I select the background copy. It's very important that you select the right editing layer, because if you're not, then you're not editing the right thing. I'm going to do one more attempt where I go parallel with this light here and see if I can do something to the roughness. And I'm sort of like mixing this area here with this area here. And it will sort of like keep the bone structure, but at the same time I'll make a little bit, I mean, this cheekbone is very nice, so I'm not gonna mess around with that, but I'm just gonna see if I can take some of the roughness of the skin away while maintaining that jawline there. Alright, so now I'm gonna check. I think I managed to do it so it's sort of acceptable. Let's have a look. This is rough. I still think that it was better before I touched it, so I'm gonna press this right on the editing, and I'm gonna give it a little bit. I've now pressed the mask here of the background copy, my editing area, and I'm just gonna delete. I'm gonna press delete, so I'm gonna go like this to see the roughness came back, and then I'm gonna press fade erasure just to see if a little bit like that. So that looks nice. Okay, so we go to mom, and first I take the obvious, the shine is going, and a little bit of redness here is going. There's some shine up here going. And then most women get a shock when they're smiling, because she has a very faint smile, but still the most people go, oh, I have a lot of wrinkles and so on. So I'm going to put a little bit of the effect of having more light on the eyes, because wrinkles is actually the absence of light. So I'm not going to remove her wrinkles, but I'm just going to put in what appears to be a little bit more light into them. So I'm going to take from this area here, I'm using a very soft brush. I'm only using opacity 31, and I'm just going to go under her eyes. I'm going to clone from here to there. I'm just going to go one swipe here, and a little bit extra there, a little bit extra there. I'm going to do the same with the other side, and this gives the appearance of, see, her wrinkles are still there, but it's sort of like it looks better. See the difference? I press this, comes back, and goes away. Good. I have to do the same with that. I have a visitor. This is Viola. You are on being broadcasted now, and this is your moment of fame. You have to sort of like move out of my thing. She probably won't. So if there's some weird things happening now, it's because she's pushing my hands around. And all right, so let's check that. I'm just gonna give him the same treatment. we have 5 cats, so the chance of this happening is present at all times. Got somebody sleeping on my keyboard. So I'm not removing anything as such, but I'm just going to take a little bit of the same thing here. I'm just going to take a little bit from there and make it sort of like blend in a little bit, and it gives that sort of appearance of more light under the eyes, and there's a little bit of something there. Good stuff. Here's a scar up here or something. It looks a little bit new. Let's see if it's a new scar. Huh. Then I can have my own definitions. I can take a little bit of it and just make it nicer. So we'll make it less. It's still there, but let's have a look. So there's only this kitty, and there's something with the lips. I think we have a little bit of dry lips here, so we're gonna fix that up a little bit. So I use a small brush for that, and I go very close. So we're actually gonna make it closer. This is a very small operation. Somebody's putting their claws on me. That's not good. And I'm just trying to even up this area here. When you have this lot, but you have sometimes you have the people are very sort of like you're going, they're doing this a lot, and then they dry out or they make this area red here, but it looks better now. You can see the difference when I press. This is how it was, and this is how it is now. So there is an improvement. And actually it's sort of like, that's it. I'm not gonna really do, let's just check her hands down here. There was a wound, was there not? Ah, there's a wound. Let's just do a quick check around to see if there is anything which needs a little bit of attention. So I put it to actual pixels and I do a vacuum cleaning thing. I just go here. There's a bit of hair there. And now this photo is actually going to be pretty large. There's a little bit of scratch there. And there's also some scratches on the chair. And there's some dust over here on her and here. Okay, I'm gonna handle them at the same time. I'm gonna take my background copy and make a is somebody lying on my keyboard? Alright, I'm gonna take my have somebody who's done sabotage. I'll just take I'll make a duplicate of wonder why I'm not allowed to take a, sometimes Photoshop does funny things. Usually there is an explanation for it. Let's just see. I press here and I'm not given the chance to do a duplicate layer. No mind, I'm using a little bit to, I'll take a duplicate layer here. It doesn't really matter for what I'm going to use it for. Then I move it on top, and then I press filter and I press dust and scratches, and I set it to think 5 will do the trick. And I don't know if you can see it, but it's sort of in a little bit fussy, whatever. And then I press the invert on it, and I press Control I. Sorry, I press the mask and then I inverted it. And you can see the mask is apparently gone now. But what I've done is I made a mask which can remove small hairs very easily. So you see all these small hairs out here, etc. Now I press my my brush here and I just go whoops, and it's all gone. And also down here, all gone. And I think there was something here also, gone. And a little bit up here. You see these hairs, boom, gone. There's this hair right here, you see it? I put the brush over it and it disappears. It's a very nice tool. Actually, there's a little bit of white here. That little spot also disappeared. So now I have sort of like a small spot remover thing, and it can do all sorts of small corrections if we see anything that needs to go. Okay, there's the chair. Should we fix that? We fix it. Just go easy, easy, easy. It doesn't have to go completely, but it's sort of like, it's not. And now I take my 2 background layers and I merge them. That means I make them into one. I just want to take the chair and just finish that. And then that will be the last I will be doing on this photo. You are making a lot of... I'm being sabotaged, that's why. And I need to... I'm gonna remove some of these things on the chair. And I just set the opacity up to 54. It was down in 31 before. It's just that I just want to sort of like to make the chair. I give it a little bit of polish, and then these. Now this is fine. It doesn't have to be more than that. That's all good. So now there you have it. And then I do one last thing. Oh, there's this thing here. That looks a bit odd. So for that I will use the cloning brush. I'll use a very small brush like this size, and I'll set the opacity to 100. Then I select it from here, press down here, so it's sort of like right on top, and then I just press it from over here, and then I go whoosh. And I press it from down there, and I go whoosh. It's gone. Okay, so now let's scrutinize it. Of course, if I didn't have to talk and I wasn't disturbed by a cat, it would go a little bit faster. Okay, so anyway, I go actual pixels. And I'll just go final check. There's still small errors which I see, but I like to keep a little bit of errors in. You could say things which sort of like I could correct, but I'm at the point now that no, this is we want to retain a little bit of rawness in the picture, but there's 2 things I spot which I think I'll just remove anyway. There's this little thing here. I'll just remove it. Whoosh. And then there's this thing here. I just go up here and I will just remove it. I take a little bit of chair from here and I move it up, and I move it up one more time, and I take this, and then that's good. Good stuff. And that concludes the business for today. I will say hi. Sorry, I was a bit as you don't mind. So thanks for watching, and let's just say that the cat was extra bonus. There were some additional comments there, and I do like comments, so if you have any comments, you can comment on the cat. What a magnificent cat you had. You can also do something like say what would be interesting for me to cover for your benefit. What would you like to see? If there's anything I can help, I would like to do that. So don't hesitate. If you got comments or you got requests, then just bring them. Alright? Take care.